My Hero Academia is one of my favorite anime from New Gen Anime. It's a world full of people with superpowers known as quirk. This anime has lot of these quirks, but the question is which is the most useful and strongest quirk in the anime? Do you have the same question? Don't worry, I'll sort it out for you. In this video, we'll talk about top 10 quirks from My Hero Academia. But before that, please subscribe to my channel, it will help us going a long way. Are you done? Okay then, let's get started. Starting this list with number 10 is Kai Chisaki and his quirk overall. He is one of the most scary villain in the My Hero Academia universe. The element of horror in the character is mostly due to his character design and massively scary quirk. His quirk grants him the ability to disassemble anything he touches, as well as reassemble them in any configuration he desires, effectively giving him full control over matter. He can even disassemble people to kill them and reassemble them to heal their wounds. The end of season 4 of My Hero Academia just showed how lethal he can be, taking on a group of protagonists without a moment of hesitation and nearly winning. Only downside I see here is not in the quirk but the person itself. To be honest, if overall was a little better in hand-to-hand combat, it would make this quirk really overpowered. But since he's terrible at that, this quirk could only get 10th place.
ついに成功しやしたね。
これなら個性を完全に消滅させられる。オール・フォー・ワンが消えた今がチャンスなんだ。
Taking number 9 on the list is Shoto and his quirk half cold half hot. Honestly, I personally feel this quirk's got a massive room for improvement, which it will, as it's one of the main protagonists, but as if now, I don't think it's as powerful as it should be in future. Henceforth, number 9. Shoto's quirk is a combination of his mother's ice quirk and Endeavor's fire quirk, allowing him to generate and control ice and fire using the right and left side of his body respectively. He was already a skilled fighter before entering UA, as a result of his strict father. Todoroki is a versatile fighter thanks to his quirk, and he will become an even bigger threat as he gains more control over his quirk. That's the fact I'm sure about.
みたいなイケメンが助けに来てくれたら私逆に心臓バクバクよ。
心臓悪いんですか？
やだ何この子。かわいい欲しい。
Number 8 position is held by Bakugo and his quirk Explosion. Katsuki Bakugo, the long-time rival of the series protagonist Izuku Midoriya, wields an incredibly devastating quirk simply known as Explosion. Able to ignite the nitroglycerin which he creates from his hand, Bakugo can torch his enemies with ease, further developing his quirk to allow him to fly via controlled blasts. Some of the major drawbacks of his quirk is if an explosion is too intense, it can cause his arm to ache and in extreme scenario even injure them. On the other hand, another weakness of Bakugo's quirk is temperature. The lower the temperature, the longer it takes Bakugo to sweat to fully ignite. This makes him less than ideal for picking in a cold environment. Finally, Bakugo's most pressing weakness is that his quirks only work from his hands. Take them out of the equation and he's incapable of igniting his sweat. Nevertheless, he's an incredible fighter and he possesses one of the class 1A's most impactful quirks.
帰ればよかった。
Position number 7 is a really exciting one. It's Mirio's quirk Permeation. You might be thinking why Permeation? It isn't that strong of a quirk as compared to others in My Hero Academia. That's true, but this quirk made it to the list on the sheer basis of how strong Mirio made it, by practicing and making it one of the most lethal quirks. Simply speaking, the sheer amount of effort that he put into working of this quirk that makes him and this quirk strong. Permeation grants the user the ability to phase their body through physical matter. Mirio can choose to make one part or his entire body intangible. This allows Mirio to smoothly maneuver through solid objects and effortlessly evade the incoming attacks. Some of the drawbacks of Permeation are this quirk is noted to be very hard to control. While Mirio can turn different parts of his body intangible, specific steps need to be taken. With each step require great concentration. Other thing is, Mirio's senses are neglecting while using this quirk, as the necessary element for them to work like light, oxygen, sound will also pass through him. Still being honest, it is just mind-blowing how a person worked so hard to make this nearly normal quirk into one of the most powerful weapon in MHA universe, competing hand in hand with some of the most powerful quirks.
なぜだか知らないけど流されちゃってるんだよね。
東方先輩じゃねえか。
どうしてここに？
Position 6 is held by one of the pro heroes, who is also a great teacher assigned with being homeroom teacher of class 1A in UA High School. It's Aizawa. Unlike most heroes, he prefers working as an underground hero. His quirk Eraser is one of the most simple yet effective quirks in My Hero Academia. Aizawa's quirk is the ability to erase other people's quirks simply by looking at them, which makes them quirkless for a while, and on top of that, Aizawa is a very able close quarters combat fighter, and he excels at pinning down opponents to break their limbs. This combination makes him a hero everyone thinks before messing with. Now talking about Quirk's drawback, Eraser deactivates if Aizawa blinks, and his quirk gives him a bad dry eye, forcing him to blink more often when he uses the power. Other major drawback is most mutant class quirks are immune to Eraser. Nevertheless, despite of the drawbacks of his quirk, he makes up for it with the help of intelligence. He is a very smart combatant, and he knows many ways of using his quirk and equipment to facilitate winning in a fight.
浮気現場みたいなノリやめてください。寒い。
言葉強くない？
Number 5 on the list is Kurogiri's quirk, Rapgate. While this quirk isn't as flashy and offensive as other quirks, but it's the perfect teleportation quirk a person can have, and an easy way to escape from hazardous situations. Rapgate has a major role in allowing the leagues of villains to remain so evasive. But how does this quirk work? This quirk grants the ability to create and manipulate a dark fog from his head and hands. This fog works as a portal to another location. Whenever he produces a mass of the dark fog, it teleports anything it comes in contact with to a location of Kurogiri's choosing. Keeping that aside, we all know the theme by now, right? Coming to the weakness. Its main weakness is that a part of the user's real body must be present at all times in order to release the fog in the first place, allowing foes an opportunity to hit. Another weakness is that the user cannot search for missing comrades if they do not know their exact location. All in all, Rapgate plays a huge role in making League of Villains sneaky and is one of the major reasons of them being alive till now.
どいつもこいつもステインステインと。
Number 4 is held by none other than Shinzo and his quirk Brainwash. Portrayed as a clever character, he knows just the right word to say to manipulate others into replying to his words, allowing him the opportunity to activate his quirk. His quirk allows him to put someone in a state where they are forced to obey whatever he commands. He can only activate his powers when his target verbally responds to something he says. I wish I had this quirk, and I'll ask all of you to subscribe me and like the video. Moving on to the limitations of his quirk. He cannot make people do things that require conscious effort on their part, such as writing down information from their memory. He must keep his commands simple for them to be followed. Another big drawback is it's possible to escape the mind control if the victim is hit by a sufficiently strong physical jolt or a similar amount of pain. Despite all this, I love how his character have grown throughout the anime. From being a student of class 1C to being the only person getting a transfer to class 1A, where most of our heroes stay.
ヒーロー化編入を希望してる普通科 C 組真相ひとしくんだ。
Number 3 is Quirk Rewind, which is held by most loved, most cute and really heartwarming character Eri. There is actually quite a lot to learn about Eri, as she is a surprisingly complex and tortured character having a horrific past. Eri is a character who has a lot of emotional baggage and suffering. Eri's quirk allows her to rewind the state of a living being. This includes her reverting a person's age and being able to rewind a person out of existence. This quirk was not present in Eri's bloodline and is instead a result of extremely rare genetic mutation. Coming to drawbacks, because of her young age and inexperience as well as the lack of information about Rewind, Eri is unable to properly control her ability. Seriously, this is the only weakness of this quirk I could think about. Eri is one of my favorite characters from My Hero Academia simply cause she is so cute and lovable. I know it must be same with most of you as well. Keeping us aside, she is also one of the characters that whole UA Academy love because of her heart-melting smile and innocence.
最初は大きな音で怖くて、でもダンスでピョンピョンなってね、ピカッと光ってデクさんいなくなったけど。
Here comes the most awaited quirk. Number 2 on the list is One For All. While our main protagonist Izuku Midoriya is the current holder of the quirk, this quirk has been passed down generations, which also makes him the 9th user of this quirk. One amazing fact about this quirk is All Might was titled number 1 without fully using all the power of this quirk. This goes on to show how powerful this quirk is. One For All is a transferable quirk that can be passed from one user to the next. In order for the quirk to be transferred, the recipient must indigest a sample of the predecessor's DNA. One For All also allows the user to stockpile an enormous amount of raw power, allowing them to significantly enhance all their physical abilities to a superhuman level. Also, the quirk factor of all the previous users have been merged into the core. Izuku Midoriya has this exclusive ability to access the quirks of previous One For All holders. Coming to drawbacks, One For All is a lot to handle. If one's body cannot hold the power, then their body could be blown apart. Because of this, the successor must undergo intense and rigorous physical training. Another thing is, if a person already has a quirk and receives One For All, the extra quirk places an enormous burden on their body, depleting accelerating the user's life force and shortening their lifespan. This makes our main protagonist lucky since he was born quirkless. Currently in anime, we aren't able to see the full power of One for All due to various reasons. But it certainly makes me wonder what's the limit of this quirk and how strong can it get? Finally coming to the first position. But I am sure you would have probably guessed it by now, haven't you? It's All for One. Personally, I feel it's the most powerful quirk in the anime right now. All for One allows the user to steal the quirk of other people and wield those stolen power as their own. All for One can be used to combine several quirks in order to create a devastating technique, which would normally not be possible with the usage of only one quirk. Regardless, there are some limitations to the quirk. Not all recipients of the quirk from One for All are able to handle the strain of gaining them, subsequently becoming mindless dolls, who are not able to speak and think for themselves. Another major drawback is All for One isn't capable of stealing One for All from its wielder, as the quirk by itself very nature can only be passed if the present wielder wills it. I wonder if this was possible. All for One would have ended the anime in just 10 episodes. Nevertheless, it's the strongest quirk in the anime right now, with only one quirk which can barely think of fighting it.
お前の言う世界とは何だ。僕は人を見て人のために力を行使している。
So these are my picks of top 10 quirks from My Hero Academia. Did I miss something? Also, I would love to know your opinion on this topic, so let me know in the comments. Consider liking the video as it motivates us to work harder. Thank you for watching and have a good day. But don't forget to subscribe for more.